basically, when it comes to hospital management, all of us feel that there's somebody sitting at the helm of it and kind of directing and redirecting people to do their work in a cozy little space, isn't it? You remember, maybe at least during our generation, I'm talking about 10 years, 20 years back. Those of you who have actually spent 30 years, 40 years in the hospital doing clinical work would eventually become a dean or a medical superintendent and kind of run the show. And running the show in a hospital, for that matter, today is become so difficult because it's actually like running a company. Okay, when I say company and when I say that I am a CEO of a company, I'll just give you the parallels of it. Okay, we have to actually deliver a product here, isn't it? All of us together. That means I mean to see the doctors, the nurses, the ward boys, everybody for that matter. They have to deliver a product here, which is of course a clinical outcome, which can be positive, which can sometimes be not so positive also. Okay, so that is one of the things. Second is we have to deal with people. Okay, when I say deal with people, it's not only patients. It is the doctors. Doctors come from all of us are doctors, and all of us know that how high our egos are, isn't it? So managing that, and it is not only doctors. We have nurses, we have paramedical staff here, we've got biomedical engineers here, we've got engineers here, who take care of so many other things. I mean, this brick and mortar, things that you see here, the infrastructure, to say in the hospital, it's not built just because anybody wanted to build a building here. Okay, it lot of hard work, the sweat, the things go into it, where everybody contributes, and then you come up with some structure here, which is actually as per standards, as per your if you call it a WHO standard, or if you call it an NABS standard or whatever, and then somebody comes here and does the surgery, or gets operated, or for that matter gets the treatment done. So a doctor is doing a surgery, for that matter, but the operation theatre which is provided to him, the laminar flow which is there in the OP, the HEPA filter which is put there, all these things, a lot of work, hard work goes into it, plus not only putting it, but maintaining it over a period of time. As somebody was telling me in terms of radiology now, a little while ago, every 5 years, you have to change our CT scanner and MRIs and sonography. Everything has to change. Okay, even in ophthalmology, everywhere for that matter. A hospital which is just across the road has got maybe a robot. Why can't I have one? Although I won't have a talent, but I need to be having that. So those kind of things are there, which actually has to come up here. Third thing comes is, like I said, two things in terms of people and in terms of having a product. We also have to be very, very sensitive to pricing. Okay? Today we know India is supposed to be quite cheap in terms of medical treatment and all. But if you ask a common man in India, for that matter, they can't afford any treatment for whatsoever, for that matter. Okay, even for that matter, if they have to go to government setup and buy medicines from outside, it's a difficult proposition for them. Or getting a surgery. Okay, hardly anybody is insured here. Okay, we are living in this city where probably 30-40% people are insured. But if you go to two-tier cities or maybe the villages and all, they are not. So who will take care of those? So this is one more thing. And then fourth is which I specifically feel is the perception. The perception about an institution, a perception about an organization that the public carries. Okay, so we have a perception of a government setup where everything happens in terms of education, academics, workload, etc., etc. But quality is a big question mark there, isn't it? So if you have to go for a surgery there, probably you would ask yourself whether I should go there or whether I should go to Fortis's or Apollo's or Cochlear Wings. Okay, so all these things do matter, and for managing all these things, I think you require somebody who has in-depth knowledge of basically basic specialties in medicine. Okay, then administrative skill which he can hone or she can hone by probably doing a master's degree in business administration. Okay, or maybe a hospital administration, and then you get both the perspectives. Okay, see, listen, when I said doctors have egos, if I am a non-medico and plus an MBA from maybe a Boston also for that matter, and I sit and kind of discuss with you something that you want, probably the other person sitting beside, sitting just opposite to you, will say he doesn't understand medicine, so he'll not be able to give me anything. Okay, He would just kind of talk about turnovers and budgets and this and that, and finally he'll not understand. He'll actually consider me as idiot or stupid. Okay, so it is always better to have a medico at the helm of it, plus having a knowledge of administration and all these legalities or compliances which is required now. See, in the last 20-25 years, I think a lot of things have changed. We have to deal with people, we have to deal with lives. We were considered as gods or demigods, but it's no longer a case. Okay? People must have told you that we come under CPA, Consumer Protection Act. Okay, we have so many medical legal cases which are to be dealt with. Every hospital administrator is in quite a deep shit when a single case of this kind comes actually. Okay, who will take care of all these things? So you doctors or you clinical practitioners would definitely do whatever you need to be. But when it comes to handling all these things, in the environment which is quite not kind of conducive for you to do clinical practice, I think some of you all should be taking up hospital management as a career option going forward if you don't have inclination for doing your clinical practice at all. When it comes to my story, Surendra, I never wanted to become an administrator, so to say. Okay, I wanted to do my MD medicine. Okay, sir, I wanted to do MD medicine. Okay, so I tried my luck. I tried my luck in CET that used to happen at that point in time, and probably got a TCH. Okay, and then which was quite a heartbreak for me. So I said, no, I'll do something else. And while I was working with one of the peer institutes, Bombay Hospital, I was working there as a resident in ICU and all. I discovered some facets of something not managed properly. Okay, so to say, biomedical waste. Okay, medical records. I had learned somewhere, or I had actually, attended some conference or something where I said, I was told that biomedical waste had to be segregated in different colors of liners and beans, etc., etc. Plus medical records have to be preserved for so many years, XYZ. But it was all not as per the norms or the way I thought. And when I actually visited a biomedical waste department of that hospital, I actually was very, very shocked. It could have landed, whatever I discovered could have landed the CEO in jail. I brought it up to their notice that this is what is happening, we need to be doing something about it. And they said, why are you bothered about it? You are a clinician, bhul jao. I said, I can't take it. It cannot happen like this. Somehow, things happened, and they called me for an interview. Not an interview as such, but an interaction with the chairman. So he's Mr. B.K. Tapadia, and he asked me, why are you there in clinical practice? Why don't you join administration? I said, what is administration? What are we supposed to be doing in administration? Okay. He said, okay, do one thing. You sit with my CEO for at least a couple of weeks, and let's decide later. I sat with him. Most of the times, what he used to do was attending calls, having sips of coffees, okay, and maybe chit-chatting with either a senior consultant or a politician or whatever. Okay, I said, I don't want to do this. Okay. Then came a time when they were wanting to start a department of ophthalmology there. Okay, in which they wanted some feedback from people who are in-house. So I was there for nearly 2.5-3 years. Okay, and I was quite eager to give some feedbacks. Okay, that this has to be like this has to be like this. And so they said, you are fitted for administration. I don't think you need to be going for clinical, anything clinical and all. So eventually I was appointed as a medical coordinator for that department. Okay, and I took over a job because it was paid job, I was getting more than the residency. Okay, I said, okay, by the way, I'll probably do my DNB or whatever parallelly, but till that time I can do this. It was called as Tapadia Institute of Ophthalmology. They've got some 4 OTs and other things and all, and I was made the manager of it. And within a span of maybe 6 months to a year, I think we broke even and a lot of things happened. Okay, I was not knowing by then what is breaking even. So they sponsored me for a program called as MPhil in Hospital Administration, Hospital and Health Systems Management from BITS Pilani. So Bombay Hospital had a tie-up with BITS Pilani, and I was sponsored for it. Eventually, I topped it also. Okay, I actually got a dissertation in BITS Pilani, which was on hospital marketing. Okay, which is again a new subject for everybody, but eventually, because of whatever interest that I have got, I could crack it. The comparison was between 3 hospitals, okay, Bombay Hospital, Hinduja, and Wokard at that point in time, which had come very recently. And the hypothesis of the dissertation subject was: does aggressive marketing create a brand image for a hospital? Okay. I mean, somehow it clicked with everybody, and it became a rage at that point in time. In fact, it got published also at lot many forums and publications and all. And that's it. I think this was by accident that I never thought that I'll become an administrator, but it eventually happened. They offered me a medical superintendent job there. Then I went to Bombay Hospital Indore. I headed that. Came back, Fortis Vashi. Again, head of the hospital for 5 years. From there, SL Raheja, CEO of SL Raheja for 3.5 years. Kokila Ben, Andheri, 1 year, and then I eventually came here. So it's been a small journey of 21 years. But I've headed 6 hospitals now. My core, or for that matter, comes in hospital operations, quality, and most important, managing consultants. That's what I'm specialized in doing. Thank you so much.
Very insightful. He is, so among the consultants in Navi Mumbai and Bombay, we call him as a visionary. It's very important to have someone who's orchestrating the entire band. He's one of them who does it beautifully, effortlessly. Go to him at any point of time, he's always available, he's around. You generally have the perception that administration people are very rude, management people are not available, they don't do this, they don't do that. It's nothing of that. So the mere fact that we're all here sitting comfortably, a little chilly, it's all because of his support and his vision. So I'm glad that you gave us a platform to host this. So it's a very So I take the question to Dr. Darshan. So he started, I think let's hear it from you about HealthLedger. HealthLedger resembles something? HealthLedger? No? Okay. So let's hear what he did. He was my colleague and we've done MD medicine together. So after leaving, from MD medicine, and he had a very good practice from MD medicine, what started I think as a side interest has now become his forefront. So that's important for all of you to know, I guess, what could be that groundbreaking thing for you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you team LexiMeet and Suranjana for organizing this unique event and giving me an opportunity to be in the talk here. So I'd like to tell you that what are the career options for people after MBBS. Okay, so around 6-7 years back I was also at the similar stage like you are here, and most of the people have no clue about it. So after MBBS, most of the times we are focused on getting into some PG course or some PG exam, and that was the same situation with me. So while preparing for my PG exam, I started working in different hospitals, different options. After MBBS I was exploring. At that point of time, I figured that broadly there are 3 types of places where we can work. Either it could be a curative role. This has been fantastically explained by the previous 3 speakers. Then there is also one administrative role, which sir has explained right now. And there is one more option, which is preventive healthcare. And preventive healthcare, as an MBBS person, we only know about PSM, which is a very boring subject, I know. But it is altogether different. The preventive healthcare space has a lot of scope. It is not at all related to PSM, and we have no knowledge during our MBBS. We are not given any idea about it, how it works and what it happens. And so was the case with me. So while looking for some job options while preparing for PG. I was working with various hospitals, then there were some options of working with occupational health centers, some diagnostic centers. At that point of time, I figured that this is a altogether different space, and to be very frank, there was no scope before COVID in that space. It was a very closed loop and of people working into that, and most of the preventive health checkups which were happening in India were only part of a compulsory thing, either for the industries or for whatever some compliance purpose. But after COVID, most of the people are now aware. They want to know, are they going to fall sick? That is the one question everybody has. Am I going to get diabetes? Am I going to be a hypertensive person? Will I get a heart attack? We see lots of people, young people getting heart attack. Okay, so there is a fear psychology into people. Maybe whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but there is a lot of interest into preventive health care. And that's how, which was a part-time thing which I had started along with my practice after MD. I took it over full time, and we scaled up to having a network, a standardized diagnostic centers, 50 around all over India right now. So mostly we are located in the western part of Maharashtra, and we just recently closed our first round of funding, and we will be expanding to 150 centers in next 6 months. So I would like to tell you that preventive healthcare also has a lot of scope. You guys can explore that also as a career option. You can work a lot onto that, because preventive healthcare and health tech goes hand in hand. So both the things, there is a lot of option. But during your MBBS, you will not be taught, and there is no course which will get you involved into such things. You will have to work on ground. Okay, you will have to understand how the things work, how the business works. Okay, then only you will be able to take it as a career. So the only way to do it or understand it is to work into some kind of preventive healthcare space, and that is only the way to go take it ahead, because there is no fixed course that you will do one MBA or you might do some PG and start working around it. It's not like that. It's very tough. It's a very closed loop space. So think over it. You guys can surely consider. You can contact me later on if you have really interest into that. I can certainly guide you. And I'll be very thankful to Suranjana for organizing this event, because if somebody would have guided me maybe 6 years before my PG or all, I would have started it all together at that time. So you guys have an option of thinking that also as a career option. Now another question I would like to address is, what are the risks of running a business or risks of being an entrepreneur? So very honestly, for an MBBS person, there are no risks, because see, you have a very powerful degree. Until the age of 30, 32, you should never think of earning money. You should think of just learning more and more skills, acquiring more and more skills. So there is no risk at all involved. Either you might gain some profits, and if not profits, you might land up in losses, but at least you will gain some experience. So that should be your focus right now. So residency is also all about that same. Until the age of 30, whether if you are planning to have some entrepreneurial journey, think about that. You will gain some experience, and you will certainly, being an MBBS doctor, you can always come back. There will never be a time that where you have to look for a job again. Okay, so certainly zero risk involved. Try different things. There is a lot of scope. Right now we are having more than 100 unicorns in India, and it has been dominated by technical space as of now, but certainly doctors have a lot of scope over there, because in health tech, people from engineering background, obviously they can build a lot of tech products. Okay, but what a doctor brings is an insight from the industry, that what things need to be built, how to interact with the doctors, what they exactly want, what a hospital wants, how they function. So technical people don't have a lot of knowledge or experience over there. So you guys certainly have a scope. Okay. Unfortunately, after our MBBS, we are only taught about doing PGs, and that is how it is there. We don't have any kind of mentorship. So technical institutes have moved forward. There are lots of incubators, there are lots of mentors, lot of things are going over there to guide them for a startup journey. Okay, from raising funds to expanding their growth journey, there is a lot of guidance in that space. But medical field, healthcare field is a little lacking in that, and I certainly is hopeful with this kind of events. After our MBBS, we will be guided thoroughly. So there are a lot of entrepreneurs, like Fitterfly is the biggest example right now. They have raised a big round. They are doing great into digital therapeutic space. So same is happening with HealthLedger also, and there are a lot many health tech platforms which are coming. This is going to be the next decade for health tech. So you guys can consider it as a career option for sure. Thank you.
Very rightly said, we now have a lot of organizations and companies that are coming across. That's because of the business nature in people. They are non-medicos. So they offer surgeries to people, you hear these advertisements on the radio, you see these bulletins, they're going to reach medicines to your place, free delivery. Then you have, they will also give you a free doctor consultation. There were some bulletins that said plumber at 100 rupees, doctor consultation at 0 rupees. This was a hoarding. So it's like we let this happen to our fraternity. We let it happen. We don't do anything about it. The thing is that we don't have enough of our people doing these things. That's the reason there are so many people from non-medical background who are coming in and doing this. So I guess if we have enough number of MBBS graduates walking into these kind of initiatives and creating these now digital technology, which I think even later on Dr. Kulkarni will speak about. So telemedicine, all of these things have boomed up so much that this is an unexplored area. So this has a lot of scope, and it's good, like if we have people from our own fraternity, it's easier to trust them, it's easier to work with them than to explain an engineer ki baba heart में pulse अलग होता है, rhythm अलग होता है, उसको atrial fibrillation है, उसको heart attack नहीं है. So to explain all of these things are very difficult, right? So you would want to have all of them happening in synchrony, right? So moving on to Dr. Manthan, I think we need to hear the story of Fitterfly, from where it began to what it is right now, to how it actually ended up having a big funding, and how it is, like what is the way to get there.
So I talk a lot, so I'm going to give a longish answer to this, and for the entire story of Fitterfly, I'll urge you to look at the website. But looking at all of you today, takes me back in time by almost a decade, when I first donned that white apron, and started strutting around for the clinical posting in the hospital building, straight out of House MD or Grey's Anatomy. And those days we downloaded it from torrent and watched it. Yeah, those things did exist. There was no OTT. Yeah, I am that old. So moving on, and then you have that stethoscope around you and whatever primitive auscultation skills, but attitude right on actually. And then you're walking around, right? And then this patient comes to me, and I'm like, wow, he already thinks I'm a doctor. Let's see what he's going to ask me. And he tells me, Doctor Saab, 34 number OPD किधर पड़ेगा? I'm like, आगे से right field है. And then he was like, thank you doctor, thank you. कब से ढूंढ रहा था? But the thank you in him, right? The way he was thanking me so intently took me again to like a 90s retro Bollywood scene, where you have like people running up and down in a corridor, you have a red light outside that OT, and everybody's anxiously waiting with that music in the background, what will happen? And then this, a little elderly looking gentleman in scrubs comes out and says, operation is successful. हमने शर्मा जी को बचा लिया है. And the relatives are like, thank you Dr. Saab, आप तो भगवान हो. And that's what, and Sir spoke about it, right? Gods and demigods, and that's why we all chose to take up medicine, and we want to be, those lifesavers. But then everybody spoke about all of the amazing funding and this amazing niche and all that you get. But imagine, so I walk into the hospital now with this smart grey blazer and this fantastic cool attitude that I have. But the patient is not going to now look at me with any awe, right? He is going to be more puzzled, if it's a government setup saying who wears a blazer in Mumbai and comes in Nair and does something. Or if I come walk into Kokila Bain in the blazer, the patients are going to be like, pharma guy hoga yaar. And I don't blame them, right? Because the way we look at it and the way society looks at us, it is not possible that there's a doctor who's without an apron or a stethoscope. The only way we as a society, including us doctors, right? I mean, when you don't see patients, I have so many of my clinical friends telling me like, tu karta kya? Because the way we look at it, the society tells us that the only way we do justice to our profession is if you see hundreds of patients in your OPD and your success is measured, right? I think everybody in the specialty had to speak about success because that's what you all want to know, and it's measured by how big the OPD is. बहुत full OPD है, इसका practice अच्छा चल रहा है. Or this doctor, there is 3 months waiting for the surgery. And nothing wrong with it, right? Okay, fine, that's how you probably want to save patient lives, but is that the only way you want to save patient lives? That's the question. And we don't look at the healthcare ecosystem at large, right? It's an ecosystem, it has to be large. How do we look at it? Doctor, patient, hospital. That's all we've been trained to look at. And we fail to realize that everybody who's associated with healthcare is making an impact in patient lives, right? Everybody is. To quote a very recent example, right? We all went through this COVID wave, and the scientists who developed that vaccine have saved mankind, not just lives, right? They've been able to save mankind. Billions of patients they've saved in just 1 year. Aren't they contributing to healthcare? They are, right? Or look at me or look at Darshan. We are working with a startup where, we talk the journey of Fitterfly, where we are on a mission to change the way chronic care is managed, to put scientifically validated things in digital therapy. Isn't that a startup? And isn't that changing lives, right? But we don't do that. And Suranjana just said, right, that we're all like, this is a niche and we don't explore it. And unfortunately, in the health tech space, tech is dominating health. You have very few startups where the founders or co-founders are doctors. It should be the other way around, right? The doctor should have the idea, the tech person should be on board to support you with that idea. It works the other way around, right? You have tech people who are at the helm of things and doctors become very supportive in that role. And is that where we want to be? And the reason why we are there, somehow I feel, is that, we are very comfortable in what we do. And we feel that our forte is clinical practice. This is our territory, our zone. Apun idhar ka sher hai. We are not going to go out of this space because what if we fail? What if we are not able to do something else? Like he said, you don't have that risk. You are always going to fall back on your clinical degree and just start a practice, right tomorrow. That's going to happen. But we don't do that. We feel that we are scared, something might go wrong. My friends also told me, like, joining a startup, pagal ho gaya kya? Dekho samajh mein bhi aata hai, tech vek kya hota hai? Marketing, sales, how are you going to even manage all that? But you can, right? You all are a very smart generation. You all pulled up LexiMeet. You all are like into hashtags. I don't know. My Instagram is spammed with Lexicon. And so you all get to a lot of things, right? And we heard these new terms. I heard, Akash sent me a message saying you have to say what is being a docpreneur. And I had to Google it. Docpreneur. Ye kya hota hai? While Googling, then it came docpreneur. Did you mean doc influencer? Docfluencer. Ye bhi hota hai. But we all are that. That's what I realized. Just day before Economic Times did actually a feature on docfluencers. And there are actually people who are doing that, right? And a lot of y'all are doing. I think Suranjan is a docfluencer in herself. Dr. Anudeep is a docfluencer. Runs a page, runs LexiMeet, lot of things. Docpreneur. And then we feel, okay, only startup like me and Dr. Darshan are docpreneurs, not others. I think Ravi Teja is a docpreneur. He runs his practice, he has to manage his own hospital, right? He has to manage his sister. So he is a docpreneur in himself, right? So we all are that. We don't really need, to actually start thinking we can't do something. Right? We all can do whatever we put our heart and minds into it. Because as doctors, we've gone through a grind, right? Look at the amount of hours we put in. Look at all those entrance exams you give. Look at all those vivas you give. You think any other course on this planet takes you through all of it? I don't know. Sir has done a lot of other courses. You would know what they suffer. Right? So if you could do this, you can really do a lot more things, right? And there's no stopping to things. But then there is going to be a risk, right? You all wonder, startup fail ho jayega, funding hi nahi mila to, what if there's no plan B, what do I even do? Then very recent, right? I think I must have all heard, risk hai to ishq hai? No? People watch daily soaps, right? Or just funny people like us who do it. People watch things on OTT, great. So, and that ishq here is passion, right? And that's the passion with which Fitterfly was born. So our co-founder, Dr. Avinder Singhal, set out very practicing pediatric urologist, gold medalist throughout, and he set out on a mission saying, if I just do these many surgeries in a lifetime, this is the number of patients I'll be able to impact. And he said we only look at healthcare after the diseases have occurred, and when we spoke of preventive health and things like that, and we're all set to become the diabetes capital of the world, the cardiac disease capital of the world, and we really need to do something as doctors there, and not leave it at the hands of technology. They'll make something, we'll go and support it. And he changed the way we look at chronic healthcare, the way diseases are managed, and do it in a digital way, but in the most scientific and the most evidence-based method that is possible. And the testament of the fact is we've had presentations at ATTD, at ADA, at ESI, at all the top diabetology conferences you see across the world. And the big highlight of it, we are the first startup which is funded by Amazon in India in the health tech space. And it's been a long journey, right? And it's not easy for anybody to pull it off. There's always a funding winter, as they say in the startup world. People feel health tech is saturated. You have, I don't know, we have 30 more competitors in India doing similar digital therapies, in diabetes. Everybody thinks 77 million diabetes, and like Sir said, the MBA people are only going to look at numbers. 77 million diabetics in India, this is my pool. If I get this much, this is going to be conversion, this is going to be profit. Only a doctor tells them that even if you prescribe them a digital therapy, they don't even take metformin. They're a digital carrier. So, and that is the difference that it happens if there is a healthcare professional on the founding team or things like that. But that brings to the question that you all will have. Idea to sabke paas hai. How do I go about it? What do you even do? You made a great thing. You all slogged for 6-7 years. You all got Amazon on board. It's sorted. It's super cool. But how can I start from scratch? So do something that the whole world does. Go to the internet, right? There are tons of resources, right? You will find a how-to series on everything. How to make a pitch deck, how to even get a startup idea. People have Googled such stuff as well. Right? But it's a plethora of resources. You might get overwhelmed and flooded into it. So what you can also additionally do, there are a lot of incubation challenges, right? You all are all an enthusiastic lot. You all attended an offbeat conference like LexiMeet. There are many such offbeat events happening. Right? Not probably organized by medical colleges, but by management colleges and organized by governments, organized by venture funds, etc., where you can actually pitch your idea. You can just pitch a normal idea, not have everything. There you get mentorship, you can at least attend those events, see what others are doing in their competition, get an exposure, network with people, that helps a lot, right? And you actually learn from other stories. The way we are talking to you, you're probably imbibing something, you'll learn a lot if you attend those events. And you have chances to get funding there, you have chances to get grants, etc. And if nothing works, go to Shark Tank. If your expertise matches someone's, you might get some funding as well. So, the bottom line is, and somebody asked, right, a wonderful question, do you want to find a niche and do I have to do something special? I think, might sound a little generic, but it's more about, what you want to do to make a difference to your life, to the society, and add value to it, right? I started with being those lifesavers. It differs in how you want to be that lifesaver, how you stay content with what you do. And everything else, I think, is secondary. You might not feel about it right now. Because we all look at, the most glamorous people in our fields and feel like, this is where I want to be. If I practice diabetology, I'll be like, I want to be V. Mohan someday. That is all you will want to aim at, because that's all you see around you. Today then you hear me and you're like, even I want a funding from Amazon. So your perspectives will change, will keep changing, but you have to find what keeps you happy and what motivates you to get up every day in the morning saying, today I'm going to make this difference to my life and to the world. So we call this session Masterminds. I think you all are masterminds. You probably don't know it yet, so just a matter of time. Thanks.
Thank you for wonderful, wonderful talk. I think we've heard different perspectives, but more or less the crux of the matter remains on similar lines. Do we have any questions? Is there anything anyone wishes to know? Yeah.
I'm really happy, sir, for your session, because I'm something like 10 years back how you are now. So I'm really happy because this is giving me some scope and faith, like to be optimistic, that thinking like this also makes sense. Because all my friends are like, after NEET, and I was like, they are marrying, having kids, and at least one thing is not happening positive in my life. Just that, what do I do? Not go for any exam or look for ideas. Like, do I just sit and dream, or let them go, or go fight for exams? So this is something really moving, because it's not about getting the people onto the board, but seeing your idea into practice is something really I think you would have connected, and I could connect with that. And when you were in this journey, what made you stay on the line, like stick with your thing, what you want?
So let me cross question it to you. What sticks to you to keep probably attempting NEET and thinking about the career option that you want, right? You want to do something.
Family, family, and like always they don't understand what is like running in our mind.
Sure.
So it's first thing is the family, because they feel we are secured and we are safe in a proper NEET and
Sure.
becoming a consultant, rather than this kind of.
So if you do anything offbeat, people are going to question you, and that you need to understand that this is going to happen, and that's why I quoted that example of wearing the suit and moving in the hospital, right? When you choose paraclinical or another branches, people are not going to take it positively, right? I had professors telling me, like, are you even serious that you want to take up an MD in pharmacology? I mean, who even does that? Like, what are you even going to do with your life? And it's about that grit, and that you have to have it in you, that you have to you're going to make it. And my mom gave a very good example, and she was not happy that I took this up. She took me to all the doctors we knew. I was the first doctor in the family, but whoever we've consulted for years, and she went to them, she's like, he's up to doing something crazy, he wants to enter a corporate world and an industry and all that, and all this is not right, you tell him he should be a gynaec, he should be an ophthalmologist, he should do this, what I'm going to tell the society, what kind of doctor is he? Then I told them I did an MD in this. I even had cousins asking me, that means you're not a doctor now. So people have all that, and you have to go through all of that journey where people are going to do that, right? I mean, it's going to happen. You are going to have to face that. You're going to face that probably in your residency as well, because unfortunately everything is graded on NEET. Everything is graded, every specialty now has a ranking. And it's not, people don't look at each other as parallels. That's a sad state of affairs. People don't look everybody as peers. Now they're like, ye rank 1 leke radiology bana hai, ye rank 300 leke pediatrician bana hai. So that understanding has happened, and ours is a generation which is obsessed with what others are doing, right? On social media, on all platforms, and everybody does that. I think it's not going to be an easy journey in whatever you do. If she explained how setting up a clinic will require all these issues and do it. Nothing comes easy, and it's about staying grounded and belief. So in the whole startup ecosystem, the best thing is belief. If you believe in yourself, if you believe that you're going to make a difference, you do it. And it's about failing fast. It's always about failing fast. You take it up. If you fail, great, move on and do something else. I think sir wants to add.
On the latest issue of JAPI, I want you to identify which specialty, which stream, which person must have written this article and which has been published as the original article. The title is Video Fall Based Fitness Assessment Shows. What this shows? Poor fitness in people with type 2 diabetes during COVID pandemic. क्या किया? घर में बैठा 50 लोगों को फोन किया, 1000 लोगों को फोन किया, questionnaire published as an original article, and it comes from a physiotherapist. Then it is the organization called as a Fitterfly Digital Therapeutic Program headed by him. So the things are, it is been said that there is a distance between sleep and the lip. But in practice, it is not necessary that you need a medicine person to write this article. A physiotherapist can write this article. You can make a good teamwork. You can have a good medical writer in a group like this. Suppose if you be a part of such type of chain, then you need not to इतना माथाफोड़ी करने का जरूरत नहीं रहता article लिखने का. Whatever you write it, they modify it. So this is one of the best practical example I have seen, and I really appreciate your words. And the only thing is that you should have people like me and Suranjana on your team. It's a fact. If you go to the MRs, all the MRs are trained by the people who have not seen a MR in their life. And those people, the others who are not seen by them, not only they are likely to see also in their life. So it is better to have a very, very qualified, I will say hyper qualified and a mature person who can have direct good to good connect. If I say, तुझको 5,000 रुपए के सेंसर लगाने का है, I don't ask him also, ठपक के लगा देता है. That much of confidence people, that will make a lot of difference.
Today's world is all about innovation and doing different things and breaking stereotypes. So when we talk about health tech innovation and doing something which I told you, that what are the options after MBBS. So it is basically focused at breaking those stereotypes. Right now we know that after MBBS, if you crack NEET, then only you are successful, you get a PG. Okay, I did that, I did a PG, everything, but I'd like to tell you it has no correlation with your life or your career. Okay, you might get a branch, you might get into something better college or anything, but after that coming into clinical practice will be a altogether different ballgame. Your NEET rank will not define your clinical practice, how you are going to do it. This is first stereotype you guys have to break. Okay, so just getting that rank, don't waste your years after MBBS, because I did that. For 2-3 years you keep preparing, you don't work, sit in the library, read those books to get a rank. Okay, which is good, you should get a good rank, get involved into a good medical college for a PG, but the story doesn't end there. After your PG, your clinical practice starts, and that is the real journey. Okay, so those 2-3 years which are very important, your age will be 24 to 27, at that time you are not working. So don't do that. That is something, a honest request from my side. Work, find a light job profile, maybe you want to prepare more for your exams and everything, but work in different setups. That's how I was working, and then I found out all this preventive healthcare and occupational healthcare space where I could do something along with my PG after my PG. Okay, so that is a sincere request. Don't waste those 2-3 years. So many doctors, there was an article that MBBS doctors nowadays have no clinical knowledge and just need securing, rank securing candidates, that's all. They have no clinical, and this is becoming true in a lighter sense. This was very thoroughly published, you guys should read it, and don't be that. Okay, even if you are preparing for your PG, keep working. Find a lighter job profile, but keep working, get involved. If you go to different institutes, work in different environments, you will actually figure out what to do in your later future. But just getting that rank should not be the aim at this point of time. Okay, that is a priority, that is a good thing, achieving a good rank. But for that, don't skip these 2-3 years of your life. Okay.
Thank you so much. I call upon Dr. Bipin sir to felicitate Dr. Manthan.